Alright YouTube, in this video what we're going to see is a simple jQuery tutorial. As you can see on the screen, you are looking at the text box and a button. When I click on a add more button, you'll see another text box with a button. It says close. If you want, you can close it. If you want as much time, you can add a button if you want. If you don't want, you can remove it accordingly. This is a simple jQuery function. This is what we are going to see in this tutorial. Fine, let me start from scratch. First of all, what we need is a form. By using the form, a button input field. We are going to copy paste it on the W3 school. Fine. By that you can see the jQuery is available in the form of CDN. The first thing is, when I click on a button, I don't want anything to happen. For that you have to write JavaScript void. Void means nothing. When I click it, nothing should happen. And then I want just the input field and a button, else remove everything. Give a specific ID to the button called add underscore more. Fine. If you refresh the page, you will see a text box and a button. Let the button be green. For that, you should give the class btn success. Fine. Now what I need is, I'm going to place it inside a table. Let our table inside the form. So that we get a border. Fine. Now make it inside the table row and table data. Fine, you can see there is a border. It is because of the table. Once this is done, now it's time for the jQuery. jQuery we will be writing inside the script tag. On the document is ready. When the document is ready, we will see UMENT. When the document is ready, execute the function. Just for testing, we'll give the alert. Like some. The document is ready, it should execute alert. Yes, it's working absolutely fine. Now it's time for the button. When I click on the button, I want to know how many times I have clicked on a specific button. For that, choose the button. Since this is ID, we should specify hash. When I click on the button with ID, I want to know how many times I have clicked on the button. For that, initialize a variable. I should be 0. When each time I click, it should get incremented and it should alert the value. If I click first time, you will see the number 1. If I click second time, you will see number 2. This number is useful when you specify the button and the text box. This number will be useful. I'll say you how. This number we will be using as the ID to identify the newly created input field and button. Fine. Once we click, what I need is, I want to create a, now in this case what we need is, when I click on the button, I want to add a input field and a button. For that what we have to do is we have to copy paste the HTML code, because this is what we need, and replace all the double quotes to single quotes. Once this is done, we are going to make it in a single line. Please note, we are going to remove the ID as well, and I'll say you what ID. We want the ID to be the number. How we are going to do it? Just press double quotes and I embed it. The same way for the TR also we are going to give the ID. And place them in a single line. So our button and input field is ready. Now we want to figure out where do we need to embed this, or in Jquery language, where do we need to append this. I want this to append on the table. For that, choose the table, dot append, and add your function or add your value inside the append. Before that, you have to write the double quotes. You have to pass them as a string. And give the argument. Once this is done, let's check for the output. You have to notice one thing. I have given the ID. So that means each time I click, the value would be incremented and the value would be passed as the ID to the table row and button. I'll show you. Okay, it is working perfectly fine, but in place of submit, I want it to be X. In place of success, I want the color to be red. For that, danger is the fine. It is working absolutely. If I click here and inspect it, you'll see the ID to be 1 and this ID to be 2 and this to be 3, because the value incremented is passed. As you can see, this is the 1 because it is the first. We go here and click, you will see this is 2, and the same way this playable for 3. The reason for having this is to identify when I click on it, I want the table to I want the table to get disappear. That's the reason why we're doing it. You know, if I click on the X, I want to close this particular TR. That's the reason I have supplied the ID to each button and the TR. Now if I click, there won't be any function. For that, you have to write a Jquery after the click event. Now you're going to choose a button. You're going to choose a document, and let's identify our button X as a class called X. Please note, this is very important. Now on the document, add a listener called click, and on where we want to add click, on the class X, and what is the function is a third parameter. So on to identify. Now what I need is, when I click on the button, I want to get the ID. This means when I click on the button, the attribute called ID, and store it into a value called variable called clicked underscore ID, and alert to check whether our code is working fine. We click on submit one more time. one more time. If you click on X, the 1 should appear. It is just identifying where we have clicked. In place of submit, you can also have add more, add more, add more, add more. Now we have got the ID. That means the ID is common for the button as well as this TR. So the ID is common for TR as well as the button. Now we have the ID. Now choose the ID. In jQuery, this is how we choose ID, and add our retrieved ID and remove it. Add more, add more, add more. If I click it, it will get disappear. The scope of this video is done. You will get the source code in the project description, and this same example we will be using for our PHP MySQL Ajax. Find the code in the description. Thank you.